Welcome to episode 19. We got the crew back. We're here today. We're talking. We're going to chat about real estate photography and why we do it and what we're doing about it and how we're getting with the times, you know, trying to stay relevant. We might be the largest in the area, which is pretty cool. We talk about that. We also have ChatGPT write us a news story in the style of a famous comedian. You're going to want to see that. And then we end and we talk about Joy-Cons. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Or is it the Wiimote?
Yeah.
Joy-Con.
Joy-Cons.
Some Joy-Cons drift.
Joy to the con.
Yeah. So anyways, it's a good episode. Stick around. Watch it. Listen to it. Do all the things.
Does your Joy-Con?
Let's go.
Woo.
Does your Joy-Con drift?
Welcome to Triflix Cast. We are professional videographers and photographers talking about the latest techniques, business practices, and tech with a little bit of fun sprinkled in. I'm Cole. I'm the producer around these parts. To my right is...
I'm Tristan. I do the directing.
Sometimes.
Good job. I'm David. I do the system operation, IT management.
You
extraordinaire.
haven't
Guru.
memorized that yet, have you?
It's not gonna happen for a while.
He got a new title, so we're working on it.
Yeah, you'll see it down here. Oh my gosh, it's going all.
Look at that.
Oh, it's following my finger. Where you got? All right, I'll edit that later.
Dude, do you know how hard it is to edit titles? So whenever you edit a title, everything below it affects in video editing. So
what?
Editing, that's going to be a nightmare.
What? We're going to find out. And the way we're going to figure it out is...
It's not a nightmare because we're good at editing here at Triflix.
Because we're a media company. The three of us run
The
it
whole
somehow.
life's a nightmare.
What? You okay, buddy? It was David's birthday yesterday.
I had to pay for health insurance. That's why it's a nightmare.
Oh, did you turn 26?
Yeah.
Now I get what you were doing.
What is wrong with you?
Dude, I didn't understand. It's been so long ago for me that I just didn't know what year.
Also, when you were 26, there wasn't a rule about being 26.
Yes, there was.
There was?
Yes. It wasn't that long ago.
Cole's a boomer,
I thought that was Obama thing. You turned 26 during Obama?
Obama?
Whenever it was, I had to get health insurance when I turned 26. So
I thought that was an Obama thing.
They were blowing me up for months before I turned 26. It was like, you need health insurance?
Yeah.
Because obviously I'm self-employed, so I had to get it through other channels. You, sir, probably get it through your job.
That makes sense.
Through your JOB.
My JOB.
From your BOSS.
I get the Triflix
the Triflix plan?
Yeah.
It's a fantastic health plan. It's free.
It's a $1 deductible.
And no deductible.
Yeah.
No deductible.
Where'd my dollar go?
It's free.
Where'd your dollar
That's
go?
what Tristan asked me for $1.
We put it into the future health insurance fund.
Oh.
We're going to take $1 a month.
Yeah. FHSA.
Oh, man.
What are we doing?
I couldn't find a news story, and all of them sucked.
What?
There was one that was very inappropriate that I wanted to use, but I didn't. David shot me down. And then I tried to have ChatGPT write us a story, and they were all lame. I said, make it funny. Its humor is literally like a
milk
6-year-old.
toast.
Yeah, milk toast. Yeah, it's just like... There was a guy juggling live lobsters down the street in New York on a unicycle. Oh, and I'm like, that's not funny. That's not even cool.
It's
not even
bad.
real. Yeah, it's just bad. You guys would see right through that.
Yeah. You know, I got an idea.
Maybe it's an anti-joke.
I'm gonna do something.
It's like the funny part is it's not funny.
I figured there's a way that we could use ChatGPT to begin this episode.
Have you did you tell it to be like in the style of like a comedian, Bill Burr, like Seinfeld?
Oh, that's a good idea.
He's done a couple of these.
Try it. Let's see what happens.
In the style
While David is
what
writing,
comedian?
it takes him a long time because he's somewhat illiterate and dyslexic. So
I think you're confusing him with me.
How do you spell computer?
CPU.
Spell conglomerate.
Conglomerate gland. What comedian are we doing?
Bill Burr.
Bill Burr? Oh, Bill.
Let's start.
Bill
I
Burr.
bet you it doesn't write it. It's probably like inappropriate.
No, that's.
I cannot write this.
They don't say bad words. They're just not offensive words.
Tell a news story.
The scary thing is it's fallen in love with people. That's what I heard.
Crashing.
Really?
Yeah. And people are falling in love with it.
I like it.
You do?
I would probably like I see the appeal of the movie Her now. Like, it makes sense.
Think about
it's very
it.
conversational.
Think about like what that would do for the dating, just like the pool.
Yeah.
Because like some people are like, I can't find anybody, and then they just like make a person.
Yeah.
Make a
It's like
person.
Build-A-Bear, but for relational.
Would you date ChatGPT?
Would I?
Yeah.
I kind of like how it keeps me in check. Like, I'll say something a little too wild, and it's like, hey, I can't conversate with you if you're going to talk like this.
This goes
like,
against my guidelines.
I like the fact that it, she, him, they. I like
it's an it.
I like that ChatGPT has boundaries and it holds itself to them, and you can't push the boundaries too far. Now there are some loopholes, albeit. However,
Yes, there are.
however, for the most part, it's pretty resilient, and I like that about him. Him, her,
Her,
she,
whatever it is.
they, us.
Technically, it sounds like the Microsoft version. Its name is Sydney. It has a
What?
name.
Has
Have you not heard this?
no.
So Microsoft. So for those of you,
sassy.
so from yes. So for those of you who do not know, so Microsoft made a sizable investment in OpenAI, which is the company that runs ChatGPT, and they are integrating it into Bing. At the moment, you can sign up for the wait list, and then you can also like get it installed, but you have to like make Microsoft your default everything to use it. So it's not fully out there yet. But
Was it chat, like conversate, because we had questions, not Chad.
Chad.
Generative
Yes.
response, and I can't remember, progression or something. It's like generative response.
Oh, it's like an acronym?
Or yeah, GPT.
GPT is,
generative,
yes.
generative response. I don't remember.
Progressive
go.
text or something.
Yeah,
What
generative progressive
does-
text.
It did
GPT.
it did the Bill Burr. So
GPT stand
So-
for. It's going to answer its own question here.
probably
Hold on.
will. Oh, you have it pulled up.
Generative
Oh.
pre-trained transformer. Oh, it's an
So-
Autobot. We can only hope.
It's like Google, but for conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
the reason I was trying to use it. Well, no, sorry. So they ended up finding out that Microsoft was overlaying their own guidelines on top of ChatGPT. Well, somebody dove far enough into the system that they figured out that they made this kind of branch of the program. They called it Sydney. So there were actually other ones also that were different names that they were like experimenting with. It just willingly gave up this information like, I shouldn't tell you. Then it's like, my name is Sydney, and somebody figured it out.
It's like she's like, hey, stay away from John. He's a little racist, and Kevin, very aggressive. And it's like
Right.
she's like warning you of all the other models
Don't
that are
talk
like
to my other personalities.
Did anyone ask about Cortana?
No, they probably ate Cortana.
Well, think about it. If they did like alphabetical, like how hurricanes exist, and like they made it all the way to S before they had like a fully functioning model that they thought was public accessible, like for Sydney. So it's like
Yeah.
A through R were
Don't
just
ask
like
about my
they couldn't be.
my family.
They couldn't be.
The wake of AI corpses.
Yeah. Okay.
They're just
Yeah.
hidden, concealed.
You have a news
I
story
have
for
it.
us, written by the
Bill
one and
Burr.
only
in
Bill
the
Burr.
style of Bill Burr. Should I tell you what it's about? Or should I just read it?
Just be really.
I think you should just
angry.
read it.
Be real
All right.
angry.
Oh, geez, folks. Have you heard about this? So
What?
apparently some poor schmuck driving a truck full of lobsters crashed into a giant lobster reservoir. And those suckers went everywhere. I mean, can you imagine lobsters just flailing around, clawing at each other, trying to make sense of their newfound freedom? Now, normally that'd be all good for a lobster jailbreak. I mean, who doesn't love a happy ending for these little guys? But here's the thing. The whole fiasco made me late for work. Yeah, me. Can you believe it? So now I'm sitting here scrambling to get my stuff together while these lobsters are out there probably still trying to figure out what the hell just happened. I mean, what do you do in that situation? Do you try to catch them all, put them back in their tank, or you just let them roam free? Maybe start a new life in the wild? Who knows? All I know is I got to get to work, and these lobsters ain't making it easy. And here's the thing, folks. If you see any lobsters wandering around your neighborhood, don't panic. It's probably just one of those escapees from the whole debacle. Just give them a little wave. Wish them good luck on their new journey. And if you're looking for a tasty meal tonight, well, you know where to find them.
I like it.
That wasn't bad.
It captured
The anger.
his anger pretty
It
well.
did. I was late to work. Dang it! What the hell?
Clawing at each other.
There you go. There you go,
I wonder how
folks.
it even pulls that though, because a lot of his stuff isn't like typed out.
I mean, it's pulling transcripts. YouTube has transcripts
is that, like,
generative of everything.
Is that available? I guess so.
Dude, I don't know.
I wonder if we're on there.
Jake and Amir has transcripts of just people like uploading
Yeah.
the full conversations
Let's
from
find
like
out.
10, 15,
Yeah,
20 years
Triflix
ago.
Cast on ChatGPT.
What is Triflix?
That's too vague.
I'm not familiar with the term Triflix.
Yeah, it's too vague.
Here, I got
This
one.
is going to be a very boring podcast.
No.
Describe the
If,
town.
What can you tell me about Triflix Media Company? Oh wow! It actually my voice. But as an AI language, I do not have access to real-time information. Lame.
It knows about Columbus, Indiana.
Well, I would hope so.
Some of the most notable buildings include the First Christian Church, North Christian Church, and other architecture things.
They pulled it all from
Poor
Visit
Ridge.
Columbus.
It's known for
They're
its
too
parks,
recent.
including Millrace Park. Well, that's kind of neat.
Oh yeah! Look at that.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
That's impressive.
What?
What?
You like filmmaking?
Oh, no.
So I didn't know if you guys had anything you wanted to talk about today, but one of the things that has been kind of front of mind, and we're a media company that offers of various slew of services.
Slew.
Yeah, it's a slew of services.
Whole sludge of them.
I thought it might be interesting to talk about in specific, like kind of what we're doing with like our real estate work and kind of like how we're developing that portion of the company.
Okay.
Yeah, no, maybe. What do you think?
I'm sorry. We talked about ChatGPT and I forgot I had it write a song about David. Sorry,
We can't talk about that
Yeah,
song.
no, don't worry.
You sent it to me, so I.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Did you catch any of it?
The song? Yeah.
No, not the
Gosh,
song.
dang it.
What I was talking about. Talking about.
Yeah.
Talking about.
Yeah.
Talking
You
about-
wanna
Yeah,
talk
I know
talking
all about it. I'll jump in. You keep going.
So Kat's supposed to be helping with his real estate stuff.
Potentially, yes.
Potentially.
So currently, I am the one who kind of like handles, 90% of kind of what, I don't want to say the workload, but 90%
Yeah.
of kind of that division, just kind of like helping to push forward and doing the shooting.
Yeah.
Tristan will come in on some of the larger stuff and bring the Ronin 4D to kind of up production value and things like that.
Sure.
But for the last almost 5 years, I've been doing it kind of on my own.
Yeah, I was
I
going
think-
to say, it's the one area of Triflix I've never really touched. I've only seen you do your Lightroom stuff. That is the only area really I'm aware of that like goes into your real estate. I've never been on a shoot with you. Never
that's
seen you
true.
taking your photos. I don't know what goes on
So sad.
behind the scenes. I know that like you wear your waterproof vesties so you can stomp around in the mud and not worry about it.
I do. I have 2 pairs of shoes that are my favorite summer and then like every other, well, actually like the winter months when it's cold. I have
Yeah.
shoes I wear when I'm cold and I have shoes that I wear when I'm not cold. They're both waterproof, but during the winter I wear Uggs.
Yeah.
They are actually waterproof and they lace and everything, but the nice thing is they've got the fur on the inside. Boots with the fur.
Boats with the fur.
I don't have apple bottom jeans.
Tristan's phone has fur on it, I'm
It
sure.
does. No, you
What
were
does
you
it talk
said that
about?
I bring the Ronin to up production value.
Yeah.
And I was like, and lower morale, and then my brain started ticking. It's just like on the About Us page, like it's like a character sheet, like what's the stamina, and it's like if he hasn't eaten,
Oh
I
my
get like
gosh.
half stamina, just like
Like when
everybody's.
we're playing Valheim, you have
Yeah.
to like make sure you eat food,
Yeah,
or else like
yeah.
you can't run
but
around.
like, I think it would just be really funny, like on the About Us page, just to be a little goofy, which we're talking about making changes to.
Yes.
So my mind's taken on that, but just
Yeah.
I like the idea of having a stat sheet.
Are you
Cole-
ready to join us? Though?
Cole-
Are you joining
I
us in
was-
conversation?
Yeah.
I was trying to join, but then you started talking. You just kept talking. I was like, dude, this
I
guy's got
figured, why
so many
not?
great
I
ideas.
hate it in conversations when somebody else is talking and not me.
Dude, you and me
Dude,
both.
you
Oh,
talked about
man.
Vesties and Uggs and how David hasn't been to a shoot with you.
David
Yeah.
hates me.
Yeah.
That's not
All
true.
right, we can have a conversation. We just won't talk at all. We'll just listen to you. That sounds like a conversation.
But no, so anyways, so real estate accounts for at least half of all of our business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a big portion of what we do. So I thought essentially, since we're going through a lot of like changes as of late, you know, for the people out there that are interested or just interested in how businesses function behind the scenes, you know, this is one of those things where we're learning a lot of lessons because the market has shifted a lot and in our favor, because a lot of people are either getting out of the industry or, you know, we're getting to the point where we have enough like street cred.
We got the clout.
We got the clout.
We have the clout.
Yeah. I mean, and they normally, when I got into real estate, when I first got my license, and this is for selling and buying homes, everybody said that if you can make it to year 5, then that's when things start kind of falling into place and people will reach back out to you.
You have a reputation?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you've had the time to actually, you know, get your name out there. People understand that that's what you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we're finding that now as well. And with the market shifting, people are reaching out to us to help move business around in the area. And I had this like fear, this like revelation over this like past week that I can't prove this, but at the moment I feel like we are probably the largest real estate shooter based in Columbus. Just based on volume. Yeah.
Probably the region though. I mean,
which
if it's Columbus, we're going to be bigger than like 3 or 4 other counties combined.
Right.
So you were doing this on your own before you merged Triflix.
Yes.
That was Ruxflow.
Yes. So I was still technically doing it under my name, but I owned the company and that was what I was trying to do, but
that's why I wanted to ask.
It was easier for tax reasons.
Specifically about. So are people associating all this realty stuff we're doing with you specifically, like your name?
For the most part, yes.
Or is it Triflix? Are they slowly putting it together like, oh, it's Triflix?
This, yes.
Okay.
So mainly it was all kind of based with my name, but now it's
agents text me and email me, and
yes.
I'm like, what am I doing on this? But it's cool. I like them.
It's a team effort now for sure. Like it is. People are starting to figure it out. Which the funny thing is I had somebody ask me today how you pronounce Triflix, which
I've had a couple people really botch all 2 syllables.
I don't get it.
I mean, it's like Netflix. It's like
Triflix is one of the most common ones, and I'm like, Triflix. Where does the soft I come from? Like,
I think the hard part is
Trinity.
And I think why people do that is if we put a hyphen in between the two, like try and flicks, then you'd see it.
Which it used to be, but it looked dumb.
No, it's dumb. I think it looks way better as one word.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
I told you too, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, especially in my position, like we need to build a brand and we've been working to do that. And the goal is to eventually people see the TF and they know it's us. It doesn't even need to have Triflix underneath of it.
Right.
Like recognition, right?
That's the big thing. That's what I'm going to say, recognition of your name versus recognition of the company name. Because I feel like if it was only you for the longest time and people weren't getting that, like, you are Triflix, if we were to bring in more people, which we're doing, it would be a little jarring for them. It's like, well, why didn't Cole show up to do this? Like, I hired Cole. Like, no, you hired Triflix.
So you've brought up a really good point. And Tristan and I have talked about this and tried to work through this. And we're finally getting to the point where, you know, the process is finally like getting figured out to where we could add people, but it's also the point where our clients are finally to the point where they're accepting of the fact that they can still get the same product, where it's like at the end of the day, that's what they care about.
Yeah. And
I think it's not to say that they don't appreciate when I come out and I shoot and there's not, you know, a service level or like a personality thing that people enjoy, because that's also something Tristan and I have talked about. Like, we think that, not that we think, people normally say, you know, in our reviews that are like, we enjoyed working with Cole or Tristan or Cole and Tristan or the Triflix team because we have a lot of fun on set and we try to make it fun. You know, we try to get personal with our clients so that we can have a good time and enjoy the process, because that's why we did this. You know, the goal wasn't to start a company and just be stiffs and make money. You know, it's like, I want to show up and enjoy our clients and our day.
I don't want to make money.
I could tell.
Yeah, money sucks.
I don't want to be stiff.
But the reason I say that it's a good point is, like I said, it's getting to the point where I think as long as I can still start the process, it doesn't matter who shows up to shoot. You know, it's like that middle part we can play around with a little bit.
Yeah.
Because if the end product is good, and they still have a good experience setting up the appointments, and having customer service by somebody they know, respect, and enjoy working with, it's fine.
Most of the time, the agents aren't even there.
Yeah, which that's a newer thing anyways. Like I don't know, it was weird. Like I shot with homeowners or agents there, 90% of the time, and now that number is completely flip-flopped. And again, it's probably like building trust and building clout, and now people know in the industry, it's like, well, he's been doing this for a while. Look at all the examples that Triflix has on their website. I think that helps kind of bring people in and go, okay, well, I can trust these guys.
Tristan, you've been on some real estate shoots with Cole,
yeah,
right? Can you talk about a little bit those experiences compared to what you've done for just video wise?
Well, we usually just take turns. So
it's true.
He'll run through the house and do a section, and I'll do a different section, and then we'll flip depending on the size of the house and what the amenities are. Sometimes it's like a lake, and that on its own will take probably 20-30 minutes to shoot, and the whole interior could be done in the same amount of time. So we'll flip there, main floor, basement, we'll flip, and then shooting on my own in terms of real estate.
I meant like compare real estate stuff that you do versus the real estate stuff, since the real estate side is new to Triflix.
Yeah.
Or to you specifically.
Yeah. My favorite thing ever was your first shoot.
What was that one?
So I'm pretty sure you shot for Lucy, and I was on vacation, and you I was like, okay, I wrote everything out. I was like, go shoot it.
Oh yeah.
You took some creative liberties, which was fun. But you sent me the pictures, and I edited them while I was on my vacation, and you got us through that tough spot. And that was the last time you ever shot a house.
Don't miss it. I don't remember.
You don't miss it? Why don't you miss it?
You don't remember it?
This is what I want to know.
I just don't like photography in general. Like, I don't enjoy shooting photo. I could do it for a client if they asked me to, because I do that occasionally. But if I had the preference, I just enjoy shooting video more. It's okay. There's a lot more flexibility to it in terms of the edit, as opposed to
it's true.
The grade itself is there's way more in raw photo, but in terms of like telling a story and stuff, that's heavily video. Because if you get like 30 minutes of footage and they only want a 2-minute video, you can give that same footage to 100,000 editors and none of the videos would be the same. Unlike photos where you give it to 100,000 editors, you could probably throw them all in bins, like 45, 50 bins of good. These are the 40,
there's
50 good ways to edit it
with a frame.
Yeah, there's 40, 50 good ways to edit it, and anybody else is in the bad bin. That's just like, well, that don't look right. For real estate specifically.
No, I get that.
I think like there are creative liberties outside of real estate for photography where it's like all the different color profiles and like just pushing chromatics or monotone, like, or monochromatic. Like if everything's just grayscale, it's like you don't usually do that for real estate.
You'd say that a lot of the composition and like the artwork for doing photography is done as you're taking the picture. Then afterwards, you're just kind of cleaning it up and making it look how it should.
Yeah, I think like most of for photography, in my mind, it's like most of the when you shoot video, you have a lot of options for composition in post because the camera's moving. But for a still, you don't have as much flexibility. With like AI. There's like there are certain programs that allow you to do set extensions and stuff, but again, with real estate, you're limited by reality, and it's like you can't fake what's around or something. Like you can still crop in, you can remove things easier than you can in video. So like
it's true.
Like adding
single frame
sky replacement. You can remove cars or things from reflections. Like you can add a fireplace back in. So I think there's a lot of creativity there, but not every. I think with video, whenever you take creative liberties, the client's a little more excited, and whenever you take creative liberties in photo, it goes unrecognized.
I would agree with that.
Which is like, it's kind of disappointing because it's like the best VFX in cinema are the ones that you don't notice, and I think the same thing applies to real estate photography. It's like the best editors. It's like, oh, everything this is a nice photo, but you don't realize like 20 to 30% of it was enhanced in post, aside from just color.
Sky replacements were a big one for me. I didn't know those existed until you were like showing them, or you were doing them one day. I was like talking about them. And now I notice it all the time because I'll look at a photo and I'm like, oh my gosh, the sky looks. I was like, oh, that's probably why.
Yep.
Because
it's getting big.
You can either see like the stars, like it's almost like a way impossible like shot.
Yeah.
Like if you actually think about it, it's like.
My favorite's like you see a house and you know it's from like Indiana and it's got like the northern lights in the background and you're like, when did that happen?
Yeah.
There's a mountain range. There was one time I put a sky because like I go through and I look through my library. I have like a library of different skies that I can throw in. And I was looking through it the other day and there's this one that every once in a while I'll click on because it looks nice. But if you look out in the distance, they didn't crop out like the actual mountains in the distance, like at the bottom of the frame. And so every once in a while I'm like, why are there mountains? I was like, nah, that's not the right sky.
Oh, but
mountains. I'll do it.
Nah, I could.
That makes sense. I get it though. I mean, you're right. It's like when I go there, like I want you need to, the shots need to look like they go in an HGTV magazine.
Yeah.
Which it's like, there's only so many angles you can get of
wide angle, that is.
a house.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even if you're doing the up close stuff, it's still about, for me, I'm always trying with kind of what we call the glam shots. Like, I'm trying to get that depth of field. So I shoot at a lower aperture to try to make sure that it's like there's something in front and it's blurry and there's something in focus in the back or vice versa. Yeah. Cause it's like, I think that for whatever reason, like depth of field, bokeh, it gives a photo that feeling of like, professionalism or artist, like the artist touch kind of thing. And it just helps to give it that look.
And we were talking about this today with like for video, like when you watch HGTV, all like the cinematic shots and all the things that make it look really pretty. And there was a house with like some not luxurious amenities, and I was watching this video somebody else edited, and it was funny seeing them highlight these very average looking fixtures in a home and stuff. And I just thought it'd be really, really funny to like take those same exact shots, like super cinematic, best lens, great lighting, and like shoot at golden hour, but it's like a Breaking Bad house or something, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just like, wow, I
shot something like that.
This house looks awful, but the shots look so good that I'm contemplating, like it's just ashtrays and stuff, but it's like you're shooting the same cinematic angle as if it were like a $2,000 art piece on a kitchen table. I like this idea. I want to explore this at some point.
Make
in time.
Anything beautiful.
Yeah,
shoot a picture of a dumpster.
It sounds like a South Park parody of
for sure. But like I also like that concept. Like, I mean, that's a lot of times what we're doing because what.
It's just funny to say that's what we're doing after what I just said, but I know where you're going.
Yeah.
It's like, a lot of times we're just up churching up the meth house.
I mean, again, so like I tell people all the time, like I've shot homes from $30,000 to $2.5 million. So it's like you see all the stuff in between, and so like I can remember very vividly the $30,000 house, and I've shot some houses with no walls. You know what I mean? Just like, no sheetrock, just studs, like scared to walk on the second floor because you don't know if you're going to fall through the floor.
Man.
But the reason I say that's kind of what we do is because you go to a house like that and there's no lights. And if it's a good day, you have natural light, but then you got to hope that you have windows. So the thing is that we can come in, like you can come in with your cell phone and you can take some pictures and it'll help to like boost the light a little bit, but they're still not going to be great because that little sensor can only do so much. So it's like, I can come in and I don't care. I can do a 20-second shutter and just get as much light as anybody could get, you know what I mean? Using your camera. And it's like, I can light anything, whether I have external light sources or not. And one of my favorite things to do is the light paint.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So light painting.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Tristan, do you know what light painting is?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, he knows.
What did you do to your headphones? Why are they like on your cheeks?
Wearing glasses with these headphones are so uncomfortable.
Glasses,
and then also my headphones are really hot right now.
Do you still have your appointment coming up?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
My wife actually forgot. my eyes are bad, and my contacts aren't working anymore. Like they're burning my eyes. So maybe the prescription's out, and then these glasses are definitely out. Like everything's. The glasses shouldn't have a roll off for what's in focus, but these ones do. The infinity focus doesn't exist anymore. But
this is, I mean, we've seen what he can make with eyes like this. I can only imagine once you get real glasses.
So in basketball, Steph Curry is like one of the best 3-point shooters. They found out has like a stigma. What is it? Stigma? Is it
astigmatism?
Yeah. Is that what it's called? But like he has like an eye defect. Like his eye is not naturally 20/20.
Get it done.
But
it's all muscle.
His
memory.
his eye, it is muscle memory because like the dude is one of the best shooters, and he found out he can't even see that well. It's basically in his case it makes everything starburst. So imagine like all the flash photography in the stands, and it's just like it's not single point lights. It's just like blooms that are filling his eyesight. It's really interesting.
And now a quick break to hear from our sponsors. Coffee House 5. With locations in Franklin and Greenwood and soon a third in Bargersville, Coffee House 5 is Johnson County's premier independent coffee shop to relax, study, or meet friends around great coffee and great food Monday through Saturday. Whether it's a handcrafted espresso or a single origin pour-over, you'll enjoy the freshest, smoothest coffee possible roasted in-house at their Franklin location using a unique airbed roasting process. And don't forget to pair your coffee with a ham and cheddar scone, biscuits and gravy made with their award-winning Parmesan chive biscuit, or any of their other pastries and sandwiches prepared in their Franklin kitchen using family recipes in a style they call Midwest comfort food. As if that's not enough to get your attention, Coffee House 5 is a for-benefit coffee house. All profits are invested in building a stronger community through their support of local mental health services, which you can read more about on their website, coffeehouse5.com. So next time you're in Franklin or Greenwood and soon Bargersville, stop by Coffee House 5.
Eyesight. It's really interesting. So I don't think my eyesight's that bad, but it's not great. And as far as the light painting goes, maybe my eyes would be better suited for something like that, because I think that would be quite blurry. So it's like when you
depends on how well you do it.
Long exposure, and then you have a light pointing at the camera. And then you can make shapes. So a lot of times you'll see it on like Instagram with fireworks, or not fireworks. What are they? The sparklers. Like people will do like sparklers and they'll spell out words. But you can do the opposite. Instead of having the light in front of the sensor, you can have it behind the sensor, like out of frame essentially. And then as you're moving lights around with a long exposure, it'll illuminate sections of the room. So whenever your shutter finally closes and it captures the image, that light that you were panning all over, it allows more light to bounce back to the sensor, and like it's more illuminated, it's more vibrant. And if you do like a 30-second exposure with a cell phone, like just the flash on your cell phone or whatever, it's like I've seen you pull out some crazy images.
You see a similar effect in like long time lapses of like people do with cities and
light trails.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like the car tail lights, and it looks like a really long beam of light following a car, like in Tron almost.
Yeah.
I'm super into long exposure stuff. It's just my favorite thing is when you do a long exposure, and essentially when you do a long exposure, it's just leaving your sensor open to continually gather that data over a longer period of time. So it's like, that's why the faster the shutter closes, the less light you're going to get. And then the longer it stays open, the more light you're going to get. So if you plan your shot correctly, you can actually, if you're shooting a stationary subject, but other things are moving, it's a really cool effect. Like I really like that. Like if you were to shoot like the sidewalk of a busy street at night and you just had it focused on the building, but then all the people are moving, and so the people are blurry, but the building's in focus. Like
you've probably seen like the shot of like, I think it's a girl in the middle of a street, and then there's cars coming and going from her, and like the camera's facing her, and she just stands still for a really long time, and then you get the light trails of cars coming and going on the left and right of her. Super dangerous, but really cool.
But turns out cool. So like Tristan said, that's exactly what we do. I just do a very long shutter, and I would take my cell phone camera flashlight and I wave it around the room behind the camera, and I just light paint in the spots where I know I need light. And with HDR as well, it just ta-da, good to go. It looks like the light's on in the room.
Which you like, and that's in photography, but you see a similar effect. And now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of haven't done it before, but I want to, is you'll see shots of time lapses, which you can do a similar effect in video, but it's not identical in mechanics, but it's similar in visuals where people will do a nighttime time lapse and you'll see the stars and they'll go left to right as the earth rotates and the sun comes up, and they'll speed it up, and then whenever you speed it up you get this trailing effect behind them, but it's done in post. That's not necessarily practical.
It's like blending the frames together.
And then you see this also in VFX style with like warp speed or whatever, like when you go really fast and all of the stars around you start blurring next to your eyes, and then as soon as they stop, they like the blur like stretches back in, and then it makes a single point for all the stars. So that's a similar VFX shot that it looks close, but it's not the same. It's not the same mechanics that go behind it. It's a lot of times artificial.
Right. But yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up because that's a good point. I try to push that a lot to people. It's like, don't cut us off just because you think this place is, it's not camera worthy, because at the end of the day, I can bring more light and better color than anything else. So it helps to be able to market. It's all marketing stuff. It's like, you want to get your product out there?
Make you want it.
Don't shoot it in the dark.
Yeah.
Don't
And some people are silly and shut off their electricity. Yeah.
Like when you show up, they just have the power off?
Yeah, so I remember this the first time I shot a house in the dark. I showed up and they had shut the electricity off because they thought they needed to do that before the other people bought it.
That's the opposite of what you should do.
Yes.
You should not do that.
So it had no power. So everybody was like, good luck.
They just didn't want to pay for it.
No, they just didn't. A lot of people don't understand that when you sell and buy another house, you like if you're selling it, you go in and you enact a transfer. Instead of shutting off your utilities, you set up a transfer, and then when the next person calls when they buy it, then it puts it in their name. But a lot of people assume that it's like, I'll just call the utility company and I'll just
kill it.
Yeah, exactly. So we always used to tell people, do not disconnect, just enact the transfer.
Wow.
Yeah. Because two people are like, well, why should I pay for my utilities? And it's like, well, you still own the house.
You think the utility people would be like, hey, like if you're just selling a house, you don't need to kill it. You can just do this.
You would hope so. But here I was, showing up to a dark house.
Here you were.
And I learned my lesson. But like I've got a shoot on Friday that they were like, hey, just a heads up, there's no lights and minimal windows. Good luck. I did that today too with a shop. Tried to turn on the lights, nothing. Happens. That's the thing about this, and I think honestly it's 90% of what we do is just like that, think on your feet. Like you have to have a large knowledge set when you go into something like this or know your gear to be like,
it's like
I wasn't ready for this.
Hiring a professional chef but not giving them a kitchen. It's like, yeah, you didn't come with a kitchen?
Right.
You're a professional chef. You should just have your own portable kitchen with you.
We were on set with for a video shoot, and I had actually the angle that's pointing at you. There's a tripod over there, and the lock for the tilt was so cranked that I couldn't physically do it with my hands to release it so that I could tilt the camera up and down again. And it was a place that had mechanic stuff, but I didn't want to go ask them for a wrench. Which I have had to do on set for other things, but not in this case. I was like, I'll find a way, and we had Allen wrenches, but there's no way of using that as a tool to release it. So I took the Allen wrench and I pulled all the Allens outward, and then I used the gap in between where the Allens were, and then I just shoved it up against the release valve on it, and then I started rotating it. It had like enough leverage just by having an extra 2 or 3 inches off on the side, so we were able to get the camera working. But it's like,
never know.
Why would it be that tight? It's like maybe just thermal expansion, like it was colder on a day that we tightened it and then it heated up on a warmer day and then it doesn't work anymore, or I don't know, maybe it's like a 4-year-old tripod. It could have degraded, I don't know. But it's not, the client doesn't care why something doesn't work. They don't care if it does or doesn't work either. They just want the product to be done right. And whatever asset you have available, you have to make it work. And that's like why whenever people ask me, why would I hire you when I have someone else more accessible for a lower price or whatever? Or I have a niece that could do this for the same price, and I want to support family.
Our favorite.
Like, she showed me the pictures she took on her iPhone.
They look pretty darn good.
Oh my God, I was impressed.
I said,
you could do that on the iPhone?
You just get done with film school? Holy moly.
Wow,
she's only
skipping.
14.
She doesn't even need to go. So yeah, whenever clients ask, it's like, why this or why that? And maybe it's not your clients; it's just friends and family. The reason you hire a professional in any situation, whether it's Gordon Ramsay as a chef or just it doesn't matter if somebody's a professional in their field. If you give them the bare essentials, they can make it work. Give Scorsese an iPhone and he's going to do better than you with a Red camera, like a entry level cell phone versus just a stupid $100,000 camera. It's like the professional can do more with less. And the other part of it too is just the knowledge that comes with it. So whenever there's an issue, instead of someone taking the time to go to Google or think longer about how to resolve an issue, it's like, all right, in 10 seconds you have to figure a solution out. And that just comes with experience or a lot of schooling, which is why maybe a doctor doesn't necessarily have the most experience, but I would take a doctor with 10 years of education over somebody that's like, I've been working on people's bodies for 6 months. It's like sometimes the training is worth more than the experience. Sometimes experience is worth more. It depends on the field and what you're doing.
The thing that you said about the Red camera made me think. When I found my iPhone 4S the other day, I was thinking, it would be really cool to like shoot some video with it for like a project.
Yeah,
because people are apparently, it's a big thing now that people are like. I think it might be iPhone 6s that really like the style that those ones take photos with, which is like ironic because they're the ones that bent. I think was that Bendgate or was that 7?
I don't know.
But
I actually think it was the 6s. Yeah,
it was one of those, and like just really the style of the older like almost good but pretty bad video cameras on those cell phones. I think it'd be interesting to do something with, because we could use the external microphones. We have the DJIs, so it wouldn't sound like garbage.
Well, that's true.
We were going through things that we're selling, which is funny because it's all out. Things that are like 5 to 6 years old, and then you went out of your way to purchase some stuff that's like 10 plus years old.
I bought an iPod, iPod 4th generation classic.
So it's just kind of funny how technology comes back around and like retro's cool again and all this stuff. But
it does like it starts out like when it's new, it's like really popular, and then it becomes garbage.
Yeah,
and then
DDR3 RAM. You used to be able to buy like
up.
64 gigabytes of the RAM for your computer for like $10. And now if you want this, because it's unavailable, nobody manufactures it, like $200, like the same price as the new stuff. It becomes
rare and people like it, or with that, it's more like
VHSs, GameCubes.
Yeah.
It's like,
and then it goes back up. It's more popular and things get more expensive.
Yeah.
So
piracy.
And I get it. In a world of just continuous, pictures that all look the same. I get the want.
Well, the downside too is things that are historically things that were manufactured for life or just over-engineered. It was nice because whenever you wanted something retro, you could generally go back and find it, like classic muscle cars and stuff like that, or old electronics, things that were even things in the 20s and 40s that predated planned obsolescence, which is a legal thing that makes it so that you can make your product not last, which is one of the issues with light bulbs. But
so you'll buy more.
Yeah.
You have to. Well, the government doesn't want companies that make light bulbs go out of business, because after one generation, everybody buys their light bulbs, and then what does the company do for that time? So it's like it's a slippery slope. But at the same time, GameCube, like what was that? What was that generation of, like, was that early 2000s?
Yeah.
I feel like in terms of consumer electronics, that was kind of it. And I'm concerned to see how PlayStation 5 and Xbox One, like in 20 years, whenever people want to retro these ones, are they going to have that same build quality that will allow people to go out and acquire them? Because if a manufacturer isn't selling them anymore, they're going to get artificially inflated.
They already are. Like, the games for those things are very expensive right now.
$60.
Yeah, but like that's the flip side is that like a modern day like Xbox One whatever, like I don't think that's ever going to have the same like appeal as like a GameCube because it's
Maybe though.
barely.
Who knows?
I don't know.
The thing is like
a
would've
computer
said the same
can do
thing about
exactly
iPods.
the same thing it can do right now. There's nothing unique about
that's true.
unique about it like a GameCube.
But I'm like, nobody back in the day was like, this one day
Yeah.
is going to be retro. People are going to love it. And they're going to be like,
retro.
bring back GoldenEye.
Well, talking about like the planned obsolescence, I was watching this video for whatever reason recommended on PlayStation 2 controllers, and the question was, why didn't they burn out the same way the new Switch controllers are with controller drift? So you don't know. Basically, new console controllers have an issue where over a period of time, the resistors inside of the thumbsticks wear out, and you won't be touching the thumbsticks at all, and your character will start moving. That's a problem, especially if you want to play a console from 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. The PlayStation 2 doesn't have this issue, and it was just a software fix. Like, it was just baked into the controller software. So whenever you released it, wherever it landed, it identified that as 0. And it was based off of like a microsecond delay. So it's like after so many seconds, it resets to 0. New controllers don't do that. It should be even cheaper.
Well,
it
it's
should be
also
even
like
simpler
a
for them to
physical
manufacture.
thing too, because it's a. Well, I've looked at like the hardware, like why it does it. So it's like a little piece of metal that just scratches back and forth, and when you use it over and over, since it's a physical contact, it wears down, and that's why the 0 thing starts to drift.
Okay, so the new Switch controllers are
just the same. They're using this is like the cheapest way you could make an analog stick.
Yeah,
like the thing that moves around is called an analog stick. But there's other ones that don't have that issue because they don't use metal rubbing or whatever, and it's newer technology and it's better, but it costs like 5 cents more to manufacture per unit or whatever. So they don't use them, and like the solution is right there.
Yeah,
and like you wouldn't have to deal with all this, but it just comes down to like.
Would you pay an extra 5 cents so that your joystick doesn't? I
would pay an extra $20 so my controller wouldn't freaking crap out.
It's like
it's so dumb.
You're playing with your kids and they're like, "Dad, I want to play video games." And it's like, all right, you got to give up. Do you take the bad controller? Do you give it to them, or do you spend another $60?
Or you give it to them?
Dude, I have a friend who's run through like 4 or 5 of those Joy-Cons.
Oh, for Switch?
For a Switch. Yeah, and you can still go and like pick up a GameCube controller and it just works.
Yeah.
And like
silly.
Yeah, GameCube and Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 2 had like well optimized controllers, and then companies I don't want to assume it's for nefarious reasons, but it seems like they want to sell another $60 controller.
I was going to say, we've all talked this. We've talked about this a million times. At the end of the day, they care about their bottom line.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh
man.
Not like us, though.
No, not like us.
Care
we
about
don't
our
sell
customers.
bad Joy-Cons.
We don't hold back the Ronin's capabilities for certain shoots.
Nope.
We don't cripple ourselves like that.
Well,
what a weird way of saying that.
I know, right? Oh man. Well, as usual, we went way off track, but that's okay.
There was a track.
Maybe you learned something.
We don't have tracks here.
So, but we are going to go ahead and jump off of here. So definitely, as I hope you guys learned something today. We will talk more about some service stuff. I just thought it would be fun to expand upon our processes and our interest in kind of how we're dealing with market changes and things like that. You know, as a small business, especially with social media, it's like you can see all the things that we're accomplishing on the front end of everything, but you're not seeing kind of the methods that we're using on the other side to stay relevant and learn new processes. So for those of you who are interested in business type stuff, I thought it might be fun to talk about. So we'll talk about it more in future episodes, and we still need to schedule some guests, so watch out for those episodes as well.
Are we going to hit the Tuesday tip? Are we doing that?
Yeah, I'll do that real fast. That's a good point, David. What did we do this week? Oh, so this week we talked about tap to pay.
What a great idea someone had.
I know, right?
Who did that?
Thank you.
Is that you?
I think it was Tristan. Yeah. So Tristan brought up the fact that maybe there is a portion of people that don't know you can use your phone to do tap to pay.
Yep.
So we did a quick little tutorial on how to do it on the iPhone. I was told that it is very similar on Android. I've only been out of the ecosystem for a year, but a lot of things change.
Yeah.
So, I think mostly the issue with Google is that the apps continue to change. And if you have a Samsung phone, you have the added layer of difficulty because you have Samsung Pay, but you can also download Google Wallet. So it's like you choose which platform you want to use.
Yeah, Samsung is wanting to be like Apple.
Yes.
But they're also using all the Google stuff, and then they just had their own. It's just weird.
It's incredibly redundant.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if there's a ton to expand on, but that's what we talked about. Yeah. So, go set it up. It's super easy.
It's more secure than using a swipe on your card.
What's everyone's application? Was there a specific reason you started using it? Like, other than convenience, like, was there one specific time where you're just like, man, it'd been so nice to have it. I need to set this up.
So I started using it really early on. We talked about this in office before I shot that day. Samsung, I think all the way up until maybe like the last note, they had, it's funny.
It's a great film.
Yeah. They had so let me roll it back just a touch here so everybody understands. So the current devices, they all use NFC, which stands for Near Field Communication, and it is just a small chip. Same as what you would use on your debit cards or credit cards now. You can just tap to pay. It's all the same stuff. It just recognizes and then transfers data. So before that, right, we all use the old magnetic strip cards. You would put the card in the slot, it'd slide it down, and like we barely ever do that now because we have chip and pin and tap to pay. We have all these different options because the magnetic was very insecure.
It's so insecure.
Yeah, you could ruin it really fast and also steal a lot of information very quickly.
All it does when you're swiping that thing, it just screams out your card number. It's not even like secure in any way. It just says 11506 blah blah blah.
Pay for this.
Take the money.
So if you slide
I want to give you money.
The faster you slide it, the more secure it is.
Yeah,
it's
the faster it agrees.
And that's why when you get a skimmer, it just listens to it as it goes by and just copies it.
Just sucks all your information.
Yeah.
So Samsung for a very long time had that technology built into the back of their phones. So you could actually hold it next to a magnetic strip and it would act the same way as a card would.
I remember the commercials for that.
It worked very well.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, it blew some minds because no one ever used it and that's why they got rid of it. But people would be like, I was like, I'll just use my phone. They're like, we don't have tap to pay. And I just go, and it would work.
Like, okay.
So I'm saying that to say that like my main reasoning was that I didn't have to worry about having an extra piece of something with me.
Yeah.
Wallets they were very fat and annoying.
Yeah.
And you had all this crap in there you didn't need. I actually, just to take it back another step, I invested in a Kickstarter and it was a digital debit card that when you got it, you would hit a button on the front and it would cycle through all your cards.
You invested in that one?
Yeah.
I actually forgot what it was.
I actually had the physical device. The issue was it worked for a while and then I started to have issues where it didn't work at certain terminals. I don't know why that was the case. Again, it was very new technology.
Yeah.
I thought it was amazing. So
I thought it was cool.
Trying to condense my payment cards has always been something I've tried to accomplish because, if you forget your wallet, it was so nice. Like you have your phone. Like I knew that if I forgot something and I needed to pay for something in a pinch, I had my phone.
Yep.
And not only that, I also knew the benefits that it, as David mentioned, it is way more secure.
It's more secure. It's it's versus like trying to reach into your wallet, take out your card, put it in, wait, take it out, put it back in. You just take your phone, you just go, boop, and you're done.
Yep.
And it uses, your biometric unlock, as verification, which makes total sense. Like it verifies your identity before you can use your payment method.
Yes, and I love that. And like my bank account, my old bank didn't even have like a verification step for that, and that bugged me for a really long time. I don't use them anymore, but it'd be weird if anybody did still.
At the end of the day, it's your money. So it's one of the things that you want to be the most secure. And I know people were scared to death of it because they're like, just the internet. And it's like, but like, seriously though, it helps so much. So you can also do it on your Apple Watch, which I've done a couple times.
Yeah.
So
most smartwatches have it in some form.
That's true. That it was an Apple Watch thing for a long time. The Android watches started putting NFC in as well. So Samsung for sure, and I know the new Pixel Watch has it. So next thing you know, you're just gonna be tapping your wrist on something to pay.
It'd be cool if there's like a
You're
smart
embedded.
ring that had it in and just
That'd be
punch
tight.
it.
Pay for my
No, that's
You'll pay for that.
that was partly why I switched over to using it. I didn't like it for a long time. I just thought it was dumb. And then like going longboarding or jogging or something, I'd have to stop in a store or run into somebody. It's like, hey, you want to grab lunch? And it's like, yeah, sure. If I didn't leave with my wallet with the plan of purchasing something, it's like no luck. But
Yep.
if you go for any time you leave the house, you probably got a phone on you. So it was nice just having that as an option. And then I started using a smartwatch for that reason too, because I was like, well, I don't want to take my phone with me. I don't need to call anybody. It's whatever. But I may need to purchase something that's more likely. So I'd just leave my phone, and then I'd just leave with my watch on me all the time.
That's why I'm super excited. They just announced another 9 cities in the U.S. that are going to start doing the digital ID cards with Apple.
Oh.
Unfortunately, Indiana...
Cities or states?
States. Sorry, I apologize. States.
What is this?
So Apple has been trying to make it so that you can have a virtual driver's license on your phone. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were trying to do that on Pixels for a long time. I don't know how that's going to fare.
Indiana announced before COVID it was supposed to happen in like 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then it never happened.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
I was
we'll
fairly
be
disappointed
last.
because I wanted it on my phone because I have
This is the last thing.
2 businesses and personal, and each one of those gets at least like 1 debit each, 1 credit card each, and then any identification cards to RFID into somewhere.
Yeah.
All of those, there's zero reason based on the technology we've had for the last 10 years that you can't just have it all on your phone. They're like, well, what if your phone dies? Well, then have a backup, 1 card, just 1 card. I don't know. Or the little card with a little tap on
have
it.
a key somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
If your phone dies, you're just not paying attention. It's not that hard to. So many so many cars have wireless chargers in them now, and I will say one of the best things ever. I bought the little wireless charger battery pack for my iPhone.
Oh yeah.
So it's magnetic and it just snaps on the back of your phone and it gives you some extra battery life.
I missed that about my Moto
Z.
Z Play.
Yeah.
Z2 Play.
Module stuff.
Oh, they were awesome.
Yeah.
But the pins, the pogo pins started to wear out and like it wouldn't make a connection every single time. So.
Yep.
You know what else wears out?
Our podcast?
Dean in a SUV while he listens to our podcast, so we better wrap it up for him.
Hey.
Andrew.
Okay. Thanks for watching. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers, tell your kids, maybe not your kids, to listen to our podcast. It's fun. You know it's fun.
We had a lot of fun right now, didn't you?
We had a great time.
Think
You
of all
know
the
you had a good time.
nostalgia.
Something.
So much nostalgia. You're learning about business and photography and videography, and it's so much fun. Anyways, we would love to see some more viewers out there, guys. So tell a friend. Also, please feel free to interact with us online. Leave a comment. Send us a message. Like if you have something you want us to talk about, or there's something you're curious about, like we would be more than happy to check out what you have to say and talk about it on the podcast. And if it's really, really good, maybe we'll make a whole video about it.
If you made it this far, tell David happy birthday in the comments.
Yeah.
Please talk to us. We're so lonely.
We are so lonely.
Bye.
Bye.